Hello children, welcome to today's English class. I hope you all are safe, healthy and happy at home and are following the guidelines issued by the administration regarding the COVID-19 pandemic very strictly. Children, you need to be very careful about your health as the cases are increasing day by day. And you also need to create awareness among your family members about following the safety measures. Children, in the last class, we had learned the lesson from your prose text, the 100 dresses. Part 1. This lesson has got two parts and we had just read one portion of the first part. And I had also asked you to read the before you read section about the Polish American community. I hope you might have read that and got an idea of how the Polish community were being discriminated in America. And we had also discussed about the discrimination faced by the blacks in America and the contribution of leaders like Martin Luther and Nelson Mandela in fighting against this racial discrimination. And we had also discussed about the racial discrimination which is yet continuing in America after so many years of struggle against this racial discrimination. So, this particular character, Wanda Petronsky, was also a victim of a kind of discrimination as she was from Poland and as she was poor, her friends made fun of her. So let's quickly try to look at whatever we had learned in the last class. We had learnt about the three main characters, Wanda Petronsky, Peggy and Maddie. And we had seen that Wanda was very poor. She came from a slum area which was very muddy, not so clean. And that's why she occupied the last seat in the class, though she spoke very less and she did not laugh loud or made loud noise like the boys in the last bench of the class did. The only reason was that she came from a particular area where the poor people lived, which was muddy, and there was mud in her shoes always. So she preferred sitting in the last bench. And her friends, Peggy and Maddie, made fun of her. Peggy was rich, she was pretty, the most popular girl in the class. Though Maddie was not rich, she was also poor like Wanda, but she was Peggy's friend since Peggy gave her clothes to her, used clothes to her, and she used to wear that cloth. But again, Maddie did not like the way Peggy asked questions about Wanda's dresses, her shoes and her hat. She was concerned about Wanda. Though she was happy that she was not being treated like Wanda by Peggy. So, she was not that important to Peggy and Maddie as they talked about her only outside the classroom. So, it did not matter whether she was there in the class or not. That is why when she was absent for 2 days, Maddie and Peggy did not notice her absence. It was only on the third day when they got late waiting for Wanda to make fun of her, they realized that she was not there in the class. Okay, so we had learnt about the environment to which Wanda belonged to and also the way she was being bullied by Peggy and Maddie. So she was being bullied by Peggy. Though we read that she was not very cruel and she did not do things intentionally. She did so just to make fun of her. Okay? So let's move further and try to understand the remaining part of the story. Children, if you have your textbooks, you can look at page number 66 because we are going to read from there, or you can even look at your screen as the chapter is being displayed on the screen. Then her thin lips drew together in silence. When did this happen? When Peggy asked her about her dresses. What are they like? Peggy asks. All silk, I bet, said Peggy. Yeah, all silk. All colors. Velvet too. Yeah, velvet too. 100 dresses, Wanda would repeat stolidly. All lined up in my closet. Then they would let her go. And then before she had gone very far, they couldn't help bursting into shrieks and pearls of laughter. Here, stolidly means being very calm, dependable, and showing little emotion and animation. Responding very calmly. Okay? Not getting irritated, not getting angry, but being very calm in responding. To children, as I told you, Peggy used to ask Wanda questions about her dresses, about her shoes, and about her hat. So when she had asked about her dresses in her closet, so Wanda very coolly replied, 100 dresses. Now the next question Peggy asks to make fun of her is, what are they like? She says, I bet all of them would be silk. Okay, this was nothing than bullying Wanda. Okay, and Wanda also very coolly would reply, yeah, all silk, and I have dresses of all colors, and I do have velvet color dresses, 100 dresses. So while responding, she used to be very calm. As I had told you, she did not speak much. She was a quiet girl, and she would say, all dresses lined up in my closet. And then after listening to her answer, they would let her go. And then as she would not have gone very far, they would burst into laughter and they would shout. That means they would laugh very loudly. Here shrieks means scream, to laugh with a loud cry, burst into laughter. Okay, that means they made fun of her and laughed at her because they knew the reality that she did not have 100 dresses and that she was lying. So they would ask her again and again the same question about her dresses and they would laugh at her. Children, this is not at all good. Though you have all good qualities, but if you even try to bully other children, your friends, even for the sake of fun, it is not good. You must never do that. 100 dresses, obviously. The only dress Wanda had was the blue one she wore every day. So why did she say she had 100? What a story. How many shoes did you say you had? 60 pairs, all lined up in my closet. Cries of exaggerated politeness greeted this. All alike? Here, exaggerated means overemphasis. So when she said 100 dresses, they would exclaim 100 dresses. But in reality, she did not have 100 dresses. She had only one faded blue dress, and she used to wear that dress every day. And they used to reply, "What a story." Okay? Then they used to ask a question about her shoes. "How many shoes do you have?" And she used to say 60 pairs, though she did not have 60 pairs of shoes. And she would say, "All lined up in my closet." And then, as usual, they used to exclaim very politely, and they would again ask, "All alike?" This was again to make fun of her, though they knew the reality. "Oh no, every pair is different, all colors, all lined up." Peggy, who had thought up this game, and Maddie, her inseparable friend, were always the last to leave. Finally, Wanda would move up the street, her eyes dull and her mouth closed, hitching her left shoulder every now and then in the funny way she had, finishing the walk to school alone. Okay? Here, her eyes dull means having eyes wanting brightness, liveliness, and vivacity. Because she did not have any friends, she was all alone, she looked very dull. So when they asked question about her shoes, she would again reply, "I have all colors of shoes." Okay? And then Peggy, who had thought about this game, and Maddie, her inseparable friend. Children, I had told you that Maddie was very close to Peggy because she wore the clothes given by Peggy, or the clothes which were worn by Peggy, and then she would give her used clothes to Maddie, and she would alter them and wear. So she was very close to her, though she did not like Peggy bullying Wanda. Okay? Then finally, Wanda would move in a very dull manner towards her house, her eyes dull and her mouth closed. Okay, hitching her left shoulder every now and then in the funny way she had. And then she would walk back home. Peggy was not really cruel. She protected small children from bullies, and she cried for hours if she saw an animal mistreated. If anybody had said to her, "Don't you think that is a cruel way to treat Wanda?" she would have been very surprised. Cruel? Why did the girl say she had 100 dresses? Anybody could tell that that was a lie. Why did she want to lie? And she wasn't just an ordinary person. Else, why did she have a name like that? Anyway, they never made her cry. So, again, as I told you, Peggy was not really cruel. She protected small children from being bullied, and whenever she saw any animal being mistreated, she would cry for long hours. And when somebody asked her, "Don't you think that it is cruel to bully Wanda or to treat Wanda the way you are doing?" then she would say, "Cruel?" because she felt that she was not cruel at all. She did not like the reply of Wanda because she felt that she was lying, and everybody knew that she was lying. So she said, anyone could tell that she was lying. So why does she lie? And that is why I get irritated. And she said that her name is also very strange. And anyway, she said they never made her cry. Because we had seen that how much ever Peggy tried to bully her, tease her, ask questions about her dresses, Wanda was very cool. She never cried. So that did not make any difference to Peggy. She felt that it was not at all cruel. But children, do you feel that she was not cruel by bullying Wanda or asking about her dresses, about her shoes and hat, though she knew that Wanda was poor? She should not have done so, because it would have hurt the poor girl, though she does not show it in front of them, though she was very cool. As for Maddie, this business of asking Wanda every day how many dresses and how many hats and how many this and that she had was bothering her. Maddie was poor herself. She usually wore somebody's hand-me-down clothes. Thank goodness she didn't live up on Boggins Heights or have a funny name. So, we had also discussed about Maddie's qualities. She did not like Peggy asking every day Wanda about her dresses, about her hat and about her shoes. Maddie was also very poor, but she usually wore somebody's hand-me-down clothes. Your hand-me-down clothes means clothes used by people and then being given to somebody else to be worn. Okay? And she was happy that she did not live on Boggins Heights. Why she was happy? Because people who came from Boggins Heights, which was not very clean or where poor people lived, they were being treated very badly by the other students in the class. So she thanked God for not being a resident of Boggins Heights where Wanda lived. And she was also happy that she did not have a funny name like Wanda Petronsky. Okay? Otherwise, she would have also been bullied by the other students for having a strange name. So she thanked God for not being bullied because of her name or because of her status. Sometimes when Peggy was asking Wanda those questions in that mocking, polite voice, Maddie felt embarrassed and studied the marbles in the palm of her hand, rolling them around and saying nothing herself. Not that she felt sorry for Wanda exactly. She would never have paid any attention to Wanda if Peggy hadn't invented the dress game. But suppose Peggy and all the others started in on her next. She wasn't as poor as Wanda, perhaps, but she was poor. Of course, she would have more sense than to say she had 100 dresses. Still, she would not like for them to begin on her. Now here, when Peggy asked questions about Wanda's dress, her shoes and hats, this embarrassed Maddie because she did not like that. Okay, because she was also poor and she also wore clothes given by somebody else. So she would just try to avoid that situation and she would keep rolling the marbles in her hand, not paying attention to whatever Peggy was asking, though she did not feel sorry for Wanda. Okay, so if Peggy had not started this dress game, what was this dresses game? Asking Wanda every day about her dresses, how many dresses she had. Okay, and asking whether she had silk dresses. So this was a dress game to tease Wanda or to make fun of her. So if Peggy had not started this game, Maddie would not have bothered about Wanda. Okay? So she was also poor, and of course she would have more sense, she says, that she would not have replied the way Wanda had replied, by saying that she had 100 dresses. Okay? So still she would not like for them to begin on her. She did not want Peggy or other students to tease her for being poor, or for wearing hand-me-down clothes. Okay? Today, even though they had been late to school, Maddie was glad she had not had to make fun of Wanda. She worked her arithmetic problems absent-mindedly. 8 times 8, let's see. She wished she had the nerve to write Peggy a note, because she knew she never would have the courage to speak right out to Peggy, to say, "Hey Peg, let's stop asking Wanda how many dresses she has." When she finished her arithmetic, she did start a note to Peggy. Here, absent-mindedly means not paying proper attention, getting distracted. Many a times, many of you also get distracted in the class while the teacher is teaching, and that is the reason you don't understand exactly what was being taught. So that particular day, though Maddie and Peggy were late because they waited for Wanda to come and to make fun of her, but finally Wanda was absent. And that is why Maddie was disturbed. Though she was glad that that particular day Peggy did not make fun of her as she was absent. Okay? So on one hand, she was happy that Wanda was not there and Peggy did not make fun of her. But on the other hand, she was quite disturbed and absent-minded while she was solving her problems. 8 times 8. Now she wished that she could write to Peggy and tell her to stop bullying Wanda, because she did not have the courage to say this straight on her face. So she thought she would write a note. Okay? So when she finished her arithmetic problems, she started writing to Peggy. Suddenly she paused and shuddered. She pictured herself in the schoolyard, a new target for Peggy and the girls. Peggy might ask her where she got the dress that she had on, and Maddie would have to say it was one of Peggy's old ones that Maddie's mother had tried to disguise with new trimmings, so no one in room 13 would recognize it. Here, shuddered means shake or tremble. Disguise means in a different form or to give a different appearance. Many times we say, blessing in disguise. We are blessed in the way we had not expected, in a different form. Many a times you might have heard people coming in disguise in a different form, in a different get-up, so that people don't recognize them. Okay? So here, she paused and shuddered. She trembled, because that day Wanda was not there. She was absent, and now she felt once she pictures herself in the schoolyard, or once she appears in the schoolyard, Peggy and the other girls would make fun of her. Okay? So that fear was there. And what would Peggy ask? Where she got the dress that she had on. And Maddie would have to say that she was wearing the clothes which Peggy had given her, and the clothes which Maddie's mother had tried to disguise, or she used to alter the clothes or make some changes and make them look or to give them a different look, so that people don't recognize that these were Peggy's clothes. So once she's in the schoolyard, Peggy would ask her about her dress, and Maddie would have to tell her that it is Peggy's clothes. Okay? So she paused and shuddered. She trembled. For a while, she got scared that once I'm in the schoolyard, Peggy and the other girls are going to bully me. They're going to make fun of me. If only Peggy would decide of her own accord to stop having fun with Wanda. Oh well, Maddie ran her hand through her short blonde hair as though to push the uncomfortable thoughts away. What difference did it make? Slowly, Maddie tore into bits the note she had started. She was Peggy's best friend, and Peggy was the best liked girl in the whole room. Peggy could not possibly do anything that was really wrong, she thought. Now, if only Peggy, she thought, only Peggy can decide to stop bullying Wanda. Nobody else can make her do so. And then she also tried to get away the negative thoughts which she had about being bullied in the schoolyard. And then slowly she also tore away the note which she had started to write to Peggy to stop bullying Wanda. Okay? And she also felt that Peggy would not do things that were really wrong. Okay? As for Wanda, she was just some girl who lived up on Boggins Heights and stood alone in the schoolyard. She scarcely ever said anything to anybody. The only time she talked was in the schoolyard about her 100 dresses. Maddie remembered her telling about one of her dresses, pale blue with colored trimmings. And she remembered another that was brilliant jungle green with a red sash. You would look like a Christmas tree in that, the girls had said in pretended admiration. So for Maddie, Wanda was just some girl who lived up on Boggins Heights and stood alone in the schoolyard because she did not talk to anyone. Okay? So she never spoke to anybody, and the only time she spoke, that was in the schoolyard, and that also about her 100 dresses. Maddie also remembered her telling about one of her dresses which was pale blue with colored trimmings. Trimmings means here decoration. And she remembered another that was brilliant jungle green with a red sash. Okay? So sash is a long cloth sometimes worn on the shoulder or sometimes as part of uniform on the waist. So about her dresses, the girls would say, you would look like a Christmas tree in that. The girls would say in pretended admiration. Pretended here means to pretend. Though you don't want to say that, but you say. You act to do something which you don't want to, right? So they would tell her, you would look like a Christmas tree in that dress. Okay? So children, today we will stop here and we will read the remaining part in the next class. Again, I'll request you to read the part which we read today very carefully. And as you read, try to frame small questions and answer them so that you understand and comprehend the paragraphs in a better manner and understand the story and also the values, the message hidden in the story, the learnings for us. Okay? Because every author has some message for the readers. And this is a very beautiful lesson. And of course, it will interest you because it is something of school and friends and about bullying and about the qualities which you need to possess as students. So I hope you will enjoy reading the lesson. And I would also request you to look at the word meanings which are given in the book. And also you need to look for some more difficult words which you might find while reading in the dictionary, and write them in your notebook. You need to enrich your vocabulary. You need to learn a lot of new words. So happy reading, stay home, stay safe.